Welcome back to the Unraveled podcast. My name is Nina.
And my name's Alina. So I know we've discussed previously, like we've done a few episodes on dating. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to take this one in a little different approach about like dating in the digital age, since that's the kind of that's the age we live in.
Correct.
And for me, I've been dating a lot this year. And I know in one episode, I kind of talked about like mostly being on like dating apps and stuff. Mm-hmm. And this summer, it's been really different for me. Spring and summer, it's been really different for me because most of the men that I've been dating, I've met online. Mm-hmm. And not online, in person. I'm used to meeting them online and then going on dates from there. And I feel like the dynamic is just completely different when you meet someone in person than when you meet someone in an app.
So talk more about that. What are the differences that you're seeing?
So the biggest difference is I feel like when you're on a dating app, like you both know kind of like what your intentions are for. Mm-hmm. Unless you're on Tinder, that's a little different. But if you're on a normal dating app, both of you realize that your intentions are to date each other. Versus when you're in person, I've grappled with understanding what that person's intentions are. And I feel like it's weirder to have that conversation because you met them in person. It's like you met them in a dating scene versus online. And that's kind of been the more like interesting dynamic, the interesting difference that I've noticed. Mm-hmm. So I met a guy earlier this summer, like in May-ish. Is that summer or that's still spring? I'm going to say. I met a guy earlier in May, and that was one of the most recent experiences I had in meeting someone in person. And it was kind of cool because we were talking on the phone a lot. We would see each other a lot. We were dating a lot. And then, I asked him later on, like, kind of what do you want to do? And not what do you want to do, but most so like, are you wanting to date? Are we just talking? Are we just having fun? Like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. And it's not that I cared what his answer was so much as I knew for myself how I could kind of plan accordingly to like what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And for him, he said that he wasn't interested in being in a relationship, but we were kind of like, in his opinion, we were dating. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But for me, like I'm not going to date someone and spend my time with someone if I don't have the intentions of being in a relationship with them eventually, if we happen to work out together. Mm-hmm. I don't want to invest that time. I don't want to invest that kind of time to someone if that's not what we're going for. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy we had that conversation because I wouldn't have known that was kind of what you were thinking. Mm-hmm. But again, on a dating app, you just kind of already know that people want.
That's what they're there for.
Exactly. Anyway. So that's the biggest difference that I have noticed. And I've honestly and genuinely have really enjoyed meeting more people in person than I have on a dating app. So I I haven't been on dating app since May, probably even like April-ish. Mm-hmm. I've kind of like pulled back a little bit from them, which is why I've allowed myself to meet more people in person, and which I always go out, but I met him out in a lounge setting. And then when I was in Mexico in July, I met a guy there as well, and he lives in London. He's from London.
Tell me about this.
Yeah, so we've been talking as well. Mm-hmm. And that has been interesting because, again, I've met him in person and that's not something that I'm normally used to.
Yeah.
But I love the dynamic of that because you kind of get to, it's not, one thing I will say, dating apps, you're dating people you're picking people based off of how they look and how you think, how you think they're going to be because of what they say.
How they're trying to present themselves, whether that's factual or not.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Versus in person, you're not picking someone. Like that person's usually approaching you and you're having a conversation, and it's more than just the physical appearance.
It's more about connection, maybe.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Totally about connection. And it's interesting because the men that I've been talking to lately none of them are my type. Mm-hmm. Like on a dating app, I would be looking for a specific type. And the men that I've met in person that I'm dating are not my type at all.
So interesting.
Interesting, right?
Okay.
But they're my type and how they think and the conversations that we have. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like physical appearance, they're not my type at all.
So what do you think about that when it comes to, because I've heard different girls talk about this, guys as well, to where, they have what they consider to be their type. But then, I mean, you can find so many different people attractive. And then what is attraction? Is it the physical appearance? Is it the way they think, the way they speak to you, the whole vibe, their whole...
I think that's a great question because I think we all have a type in what we want physically, like in a physical appearance. And that that just kind of is what we prefer.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's mostly all we know initially until we see something outside of that. So like when I'm on a dating app, I'm looking at physical appearance. That's all I know to look for. And, you know, obviously I'm reading their bio, whatever, but I don't really care about them looking at their physical appearance. And if that fits, if that aligns with kind of what I'm attracted to. And I feel like when you're in person, it's not even about the physical appearance because you can't, I mean, I'm not going to stop someone from approaching me because they're not my type. I don't know what they're approaching me about. So I'm going to hear them out. I'm going to have a conversation with them. And I'm just so bubbly most of the time. Like I'm open to whoever's approaching me and wants to have a conversation with me. And it's not like these men are ugly, but they're not the type that I would typically like check off on a dating app because they don't have the physical appearance that I would typically prefer. And I'm honestly happy for this experience that I've had over the summer because it's allowed me to be like, well, number one, I'm not on dating apps anymore, but it's allowed me to think outside of what the physical appearance is. And don't get me wrong, but on a dating app, your only option is to go based off of a physical appearance before anything else. And being physically in the dating scene where you're like meeting people, and it's not even like I intended to meet any of these people in public. It just kind of happened. The conversations have been like, it's based on the conversations and the connections you've had in person, like you said. And it's so much more meaningful and different than when you're on a dating app, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I honestly love it so much better.
It's a more genuine connection.
Yes, correct.
You know, I heard someone talking about the difference between maybe like dating online and going based off of like appearance and perceived expectations, all this kind of stuff versus meeting someone in person. And they were saying how maybe what you had considered to be your type is not working for certain reasons. And they were saying people naturally want to look for a firecracker. You know, it's exciting, but it's also unpredictable and it's kind of dangerous.
Sure.
So instead of looking for a firecracker, you want to look for a fireplace. Somebody who is still bright and burning and brings warmth and all of those sparks and things that come from a fireplace.
Sure.
But a fireplace is not just sparking all the time like a firecracker, but it's consistent.
Yes.
And it's just, I don't know. I thought it was very interesting.
It is.
The way they talked about that.
It is.
So, okay. You got to tell us a story. People freak out when you tell stories.
I don't have any crazy stories, honestly.
So all the people, okay.
So I don't have any crazy stories, but here's the thing. So when I used to date in the past, I would only date one person.
Okay.
And everyone in my life would be like, Alina, like stop dating one person. You need to date multiple people. Stop putting all your eggs in one basket. You're supposed to date multiple people. Figure out what you like. Figure out who you like. Stop committing to someone so early. Stop committing to someone so early, or just committing to someone before you know if this person is really going to be your person.
Okay. What's early? What's not early?
That's a great question.
Obviously, this is subjective.
I mean,
but generally,
for me, so then we also get into the topic of what's of like exclusive and not exclusive. Okay. And when I say commit, I mean like being exclusive with that person. It doesn't have to mean you're in a relationship with them. It just means you're exclusively talking to them. You're the only person you're talking to. And so when I say commit, I'm talking about being exclusive with that person, not in a relationship. And I say usually like if I'm talking to someone, I'll go exclusive with them within a month because of my reasons, whatever. Yeah. And again, not boyfriend and girlfriend, just like we're the only two people talking to each other.
Well, you're setting the expectation of, this is what we're heading towards. Whether that happens or not, we don't know. But this is the intention.
Correct. So I used to do that, and then obviously we ended up dating, and then something obviously didn't work out because I'm still single, and which that's cool, that happens in life, whatever. And people have always told me, Alina, like you're supposed to date multiple people, figure out what you want, get to know them, and then go from there. And I don't have the time. Like in my mind, I'm like, I don't have the time to talk to multiple people. Like I just don't have the time for that. So I never did it until this summer. And because it kind of just fell in my lap because none of the guys that I'm dating right now, I met on dating apps. They all kind of I met them in person. And it wasn't like I was intentionally looking for someone to talk to. Like they just kind of fell in my lap. And so that's been an interesting experience for me because I'm actually dating like 4 guys right now. Okay. And they all live in different areas. I've got 2 in Atlanta, 1 in Texas, 1 in London. Girl. And it's been really, really interesting. But I've honestly enjoyed it because they all bring different things to the table. and they all are different people. So it's been interesting to kind of figure out what I like, what I, yeah, I told them all. Like if they ask me, if guys will, if they ask me, I've had some ask me and I'm like, yeah, I'm dating other people. And if I've had one guy ask me to be exclusive with him and I was like, no, I can't commit to that because I don't know you. I've only went on one date with you. I don't know you to allow myself to be exclusive with you. I don't know you enough. So he stopped talking to me.
One day is kind of
And then the London guy was like, may the best man win. And I was like,
I
was like, okay. And he watches my podcast, so he's probably going to see this and he's going to think it's funny.
We approve.
Yes. I call him my London boyfriend. Okay. Even though he's not my boyfriend, but you know, that's just my name I give him.
Of course. May the best man win. Wow.
Yes, may the best man win. And so again, it's been interesting to see the different energies, the different the different conversations I have with each one of them. And again, like none of them I'm exclusively with. We're kind of all in the talking phase. Like some of them I've been talking to for a couple months. Some of them are kind of new. It just kind of depends. It's been honestly really interesting, but it's been exciting. It's been fun. I've definitely enjoyed this season of dating more than I have the other seasons. And honestly, I like this strategy a little more. I'm like, damn, why didn't I do this earlier when everybody told me to do it this way? Because I don't have all my eggs in one basket, I'm not upset when something doesn't go the way I want it to, or this guy doesn't work out how I thought it would because I had certain expectations or certain thoughts about him because I'm dating other people. So
and I think
I don't really care.
I think it's important for women to make sure that if they're going to be exclusive with somebody or, you know, looking at them as like boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever you want to say, there really has to be effort on the other side because it's easy for people to just like imagine and hope and down the road. And
correct.
But if you don't see legitimate effort consistently, it means nothing. Correct. You know, that's harsh, but it's true.
You're 100% right.
What do they say? If he wanted to, he would. And if he doesn't want to.
This is true. This is true.
You know, it's nothing against you. It's just the way it is.
So I've had other friends that are struggling in dating and I told them, like, maybe you're in the wrong environment. Like, you need to be putting yourself, like, I think everyone in our day and age is usually used to being on dating apps. And I was too at one point as well. But I again have met so many people in person that I'm dating. And I said, maybe you're in the wrong environment. You need to be moving to an environment where there's more of the kind of people that you think you want to date and be with, and be in those environments and network in those environments. Go to those type of places. Yeah. Like if you're wanting a nice guy that wears suits all the time, you should probably go to a luxury hotel and sit at the bar. Like where you are is where you're going to find the kind of where you are is where you're going to attract those kind of people, if that makes sense.
And the other thing too, I mean, this is not for you. This is something like I'll tell my sisters or friends and things like that. If you're looking for a certain caliber of person, it's important to be that caliber of person yourself, because realistically, you're not going to attract probably that person.
Correct.
Unless you have something to offer and something to give as well. And then as you continue to work on yourself, all of a sudden you maybe run into opportunity where you meet these people.
Exactly.
It's because you're that type of person also.
That is true.
Which I think is kind of cool.
That is true.
So, 4 guys.
Yes.
No preference? No order?
I like them all for different reasons.
Okay.
Like one of the guys I've learned a lot from in terms of like being able to truly listen to people's conversations, take mental notes, and also be mindful of what I'm hearing. Like, so example for him, when I'm talking to people, I'm just like talking. And for him, he remembers every single detail I tell him. And like, even to the point where I was like, I don't really like a lot of African food, but I like one special dish called suya. And the next day I'm at his store with him and he's like, oh, by the way, like I was here and I got you this. And because he remembered.
See?
It's the thought, like I love his thoughtfulness and him remembering all of these special details.
Actually, no boys, just men. Listen. Remembering the little details is key, isn't it?
Agreed.
Doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Doesn't have to be anything special. But just for a woman, remembering something that she said, it shows that you care.
This is true. This is true.
Continue.
And he's just very, very complimentary. And it's not that I need it or
But that's probably one of your love languages.
It's actually not.
Really?
Yeah, it's not at all. It's
What
not
do
even something that I care about, but I noticed it so much because of how complimentary he is. Yes. And he notices every single detail. Like he'll be like, oh, did you get your eyebrows done? Did you do this? Did you do this? I'm like, yeah, like why, how are you noticing this stuff?
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool.
So he's complimenting you, and it shows that he
paying
notices
attention to detail, being thoughtful.
The effort.
Yes. And he specifically owns a liquor store, and I've told him he knows what kind of drinks that I like. So he has a lot of new vendors come in that will want to sell new products to him. And he's set aside specific drinks that he thinks I would like. And then I'll be going home with me. I'll go home and have like a bag full of like different drinks for me to try that he thinks I would like. I think that's pretty cool. Like just real thoughtfulness. Cause I think most men don't think about such small things and such thoughtful little things that they could do that mean the world. Yeah. And that's really important to me that I
like the large gestures I think are all well and good.
Yes.
And those have their place for sure.
Correct.
You know? But then the little small gestures are so powerful. They don't even realize.
This is true. And I think that's more powerful than the big ones. Because I think the grand gestures happen on Valentine's Day, on birthdays, on special occasions. And honestly, like that shouldn't be a reason to celebrate your person, your friend, your partner, whatever. I think that should be like a cherry on. That should be like that. I think celebrating your person and the thoughtfulness should occur year round to let that person know you appreciate them and you're thinking of them and you care about them.
Yeah.
So I think thoughtfulness is really important to me.
So you're just going to wait and see how it goes.
And I had a friend. What
did they say? May the best man win?
Yes. And I had a friend ask me the other day, she was like, Alina, like, what are you going to do if you like one of them more than the other ones? And I'm like, that's supposed to happen. So I'm supposed to end up liking one of them more than the other ones. So basically you're doing your own
bachelorette. Exactly.
And if I do, and if that person asks me to be exclusive with them and I am comfortable at that point to do that, then I'll have to, get rid of the other guys. But I'm not, and to be honest, like I'm not in any rush to do that. I'm like feeling it out. I'm seeing who I like more than the other ones. And some of the guys haven't asked me if I'm dating other people. And if they do, I'll be honest and tell them I am. But like, I'm really just filling out the field and seeing what I like, who I don't like. And I'm also learning more about myself as well and what standards I want, what standards I don't want. And yes, we have an idea of what that already is, but that can always change. And also you can realize, oh, I want this kind of standard. This is better than what I expected. So yeah.
Very interesting. You're going to have to keep us updated.
I know. It's been fun. I'm genuinely enjoying this season of dating more than ever, for sure. Especially considering that all of these people are in different zip codes.
Yeah.
And some of them even different countries and states. So it's been really interesting, for sure.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps us up for today.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely come back and have to get an update on if the 4 made the cut, or is it 3, 2, 1?
We'll see.
Well, thank you guys, as always, for watching and listening. We will release a new episode every Wednesday. You can follow us on social media or listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for watching.